Mulibisi, we need your computer for the grant funding, funding priorities of Limpopo province. And I'm sure Zaya, you are finishing. Please email to Amandla immediately. Mulibisi, email to Amandla immediately. And then bring the computer to your chairperson and presenters, please. After emailing to Amandla. Thanks. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for coming back, all of you. I know there are those that come from Vembe. There are about 38 that requested to go because they were initially supposed to sleep for 2 nights, but it's okay. They had to leave now because Vembe is almost 5 hours, if not. How many hours? 3 to 5? 3 to 4? Huh? When? Bartoyando. I exaggerate. I felt it's 2 hours. And now they go to the Limpopo provincial coordinator to say, it will be late. So we respect that. If the provincial coordinator says, allow them to go. But the rest of the people, you can wait until we finish. Mr. Lokhodi, please come with your computer. As long as information has already been emailed to Amandla. They are still sending it. How many minutes, sir? Okay. Are you ready to come to the fore with your computer? Okay. Let Advocate Boyhan start with Commission 1.
Good afternoon to you all. Dumelang lohle, lekai, rahon. I'm trying to buy time for my scribe to send.
Scribe, Zaire.
But because I was copiously taking notes, I can just somehow rely on my notes. Should I do that? It's like you don't trust what you've.
They're done. Please, where are CIO scribes? They need to give their computer to the CIO to present and also send the information to Amandla. Amandla, did you get the modernization one? Have you already gotten it? Oh, yes. Amandla has got the notes, but the person with the computer must bring the computer to you. Cynthia. Cynthia, please bring the computer for the CIO. The Commission 3, thanks. There she is.
Thanks, Program Director. Thanks, Madam Peche. Colleagues, good morning, good afternoon once again. I was charged with the responsibilities of chairing Commission number 1, which its topic was strengthening institutional governance and compliance capacity of NGOs and NPOs. And the first question that was posed to my commission was what keeps them awake at night relating to non-compliance. And several of the responses came from different people. Amongst the responses that we received was the issue of the submission of the reports, be it progress reports or final reports, that NGOs and POs are having a difficulty in the submission of their progress or final reports. The second one was lack of resources, be it human resources or capital, for them to be able to buy or to procure tools of trade. Amongst issues that are raised were transport and laptops. Another issue which was raised to be a contributing factor to them lacking or suffering from amnesia. Is it amnesia? Sleep, what is it? If you suffer from sleeping, what is it? Insomnia, yes. Was lack of capacity building by leadership. So most of them indicated that they needed capacity building. Record keeping by the organization, it's very poor. And furthermore, it was indicated that there is a problem with sustainability of NPOs, especially when funding has not been granted to them. Another one related to the compilation of financial statements or even audited financial statements, amongst other issues that were raised. And then in reverse, the question also was posed to them: what is it that the grantees organization wishes the NLC to assist them with in order to enable them to comply? And many suggestions were made that, but what is key, and that came out from various people, were that there should be capacity building on compliance and governance, meaning that as the NLC, we really need to go back and do what the legislation requires us to do. There is a book that Prof was wielding earlier, which is called the Lotteries Act. If you read that book, Section 2, capital A, subsection 5 of it, gives us a mandate as the NLC to ensure that we capacitate you. We make sure that you are compliant. We make sure that you understand how our legislation and its regulations are applicable for you to comply and eventually be granted the funding. So it is what we have been doing as the NLC. It's good that now it came from you. We will try to make sure that we do it as effective as possible with various partnerships with other institutions, as has been indicated today, or the NDA is on board. They are willing to partner with us in a form of a memorandum of understanding to capacitate you. Monitoring and evaluation was another measure which was suggested, that we really need to strengthen our M&E. It must be done continuously, periodically, and the suggestion which I will allow my CIO to attend to later: how do we remotely do monitoring and evaluation in a bid to move with the times? CIO, I know DBSA has something to that effect. Perhaps it can assist the NLC in a longer period. Another solution that was proposed was for the NLC to ensure that it meets out consequence management to non-compliant grantees. And we are fortunate that currently we are meeting out those consequence management in a form of blacklisting. I'm using the word blacklisting in inverted commas. We register every non-compliant grantee in our register, so that that grantee would not be able to qualify for any application for funding until they comply. And at the same time, what we enable them to do, we do rehabilitation in order to enable them to comply at the end of the day for funding. Performance Management Development System, which in short is known as PMDS, should be done quarterly, and the response there too was that that is already built into the grant agreement, where we measure and monitor all these projects as well as the performance of our grantees on a periodic basis. A suggestion was also made that for most of the grantees to be compliant, we really need to be seen to be attending or be visible to the far-flung areas. Instead of having national office and provincial office, we must think of having branches and or being able to be present in various municipalities, so that the grantees are able to access us easily and quickly, as opposed to as it is currently. To others, it's expensive for them to reach the provincial office based in Polokwane, if Limpopo could be cited as an example. There should be proper registration of governance structures, as well as registration or usage of professionally registered financial officers. The challenge that we come across is that most of the non-compliant applications is as a result of financial statements being compiled by people that are not qualified and or not professionally registered. There was also a suggestion on a mobile software system that will enable compliance. They made an example of SARS. We also listened carefully to some of the suggestions that were made relating to compliance issues, and some of them which we realized that it is a very concerning issue. It's the usage of agents. It is very apparent that agents have infiltrated the system and are assisting some of you. And at the end, when you have parted ways with those agents, or the relationship has gone sour with the agents, you are left in a space of not being able to be compliant. And the NLC is saying, we do not encourage nor do not support the usage of agents. It is unlawful to do that, and therefore we request you humbly to go to the nearest NLC office to seek help if you want your application to be compliant. And if ever you are not sure, also there is contact details for the NLC, where you can phone them or send an email in order for us to enable you to be compliant. So we again touched for a while on the root causes for the non-submission of progress reports. The submission I have made was that in the non-compliance guarantee committee, the trend that we have picked up is that approximately 70% of the blacklisted NGOs are as a result of lack of progress reports. And the question was posed to you as to what are the root causes that makes you not to submit your progress reports. And the response came from various quarters that sometimes it's as a result of people having misused the funds, or not being accessible after funding was given to them, or it's all about mismanagement or poor management of NGOs, or the leadership or membership or directors of NGOs and PCs not being conversant with the process of compiling reports because they have placed their trust in the hands of agents, or to a certain extent they outsource report writing. And it has been indicated that the NLC is available to enable you as well as to capacitate you in the compilation of the reports that are due. But all that you need to do is to make sure that you communicate with the NLC timelessly for the NLC to come to your rescue. As I said, it is our legislative mandate to ensure that we raise awareness, we enable you to comply, as well as our mandate to make sure that you are funded as long as you are compliant. Those are what has been discussed in the commissions in terms of gaps identified and proposed solutions that have been provided, including ancillary issues that were raised in our commission. So in a nutshell, we have addressed all the compliance areas, all the governance tools that are required, and how the NLC could support the entities or the organization by way of providing capacity building based on the legislative requirements. So, Program Director, without wasting much time, I have tried my level best to summarize the discussions that emanated from the commission that I was responsible for. I thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for that presentation, Advocate. We really appreciate it. Now, I'm going to give the remaining two presenters only 10 minutes each to give us feedback insofar as their commissions are concerned. I'm not too sure if it's Mr. Lehodi or Bopopi. Who's coming first? Mr. Lehodi. Thank you so much. We no longer do the ladies first thing.
Yeah. Program Director Mpo, thank you once again for the opportunity. We were responsible for Commission 2, which was seized with the responsibility for the crafting of focus areas, or rather priority areas for the province of Limpopo. And this is very important because it talks to the relevance of the NLC to the communities and yourselves as NPOs and members of civil society. So we were looking at these sector by sector, and we started with sports. The first thing that came out very strongly under sports and this was quite an emotive issue because the delegates were feeling very strong that there is some level of sports infrastructure in our communities, soccer grounds, but they are neglected and they are not in good shape. So there was a very strong suggestion that perhaps there is a need for an integrated approach to the construction and ownership of sports infrastructure in our communities, to a point where the NLC is strongly advised and urged to work with local stakeholders on the ground, like local municipalities, sports associations, so that once a sports infrastructure is built, let's say maybe it's a sports complex, preferably at maybe at a local municipality level or a district municipality level. Once it is built, there is proper ownership there too, which will then fall into the hands of whatever sporting, or maybe SAFA or any other sports authority, inclusive of the local municipality. But the integrated approach in this instance the emphasis is that it should not just be a sports facility that is built and is left. Inside that sports facility, there must be a proper program, hence the emphasis on the integrated approach. There must be a program, and this program must also include coaches, transport for the beneficiaries, and the maintenance of the infrastructure itself, including stipends for whoever is responsible for providing services in that sporting complex. And you would agree with me, colleagues, that we have a lot of sports infrastructure projects in our province that are there, but they're abandoned. They were built at some point, but they are now abandoned, and they've now become white elephants simply because there was never a plan from the beginning. And the plan, if at all it was there, it was not good enough to have an integrated element so that all issues that concern sports in that area are then catered for. So the next point, the delegates emphasize the issue of balance, the need to design sports programs in such a way that even the girl child is catered for. Because if you think about it, normally when children come back from school, the girl child is expected to do the cooking, and the boy is allowed to go to a soccer pitch and play. So while there's an understanding that this is something that can best be attended to by sports organizations on the ground, there is a very strong feeling that when we design programs for sports, they have to be as much balanced as possible to a point where they cater for both girls and boys, to avoid the situation where boys have the upper hand and they're able to progress in sports, and girls are disadvantaged in the process. The next one, delegates also raised an important issue of expanding sporting codes so that in our communities we only known for playing football or soccer only or netball. Why can't we have rugby? Why can't we have cricket? Why can't we fencing, as an example that was presented earlier by our colleagues from, it's a good example that we can expand sporting codes so that we don't only have football, we can have swimming, we can have cricket, we can have many others, so that there are no limitations to our children. Some of the children could have that talent for swimming, but they are not going to be able to realize that God-given talent simply because facilities are not there and we are limiting them because there's only a soccer pitch. I'm done with sports. I'm now going to arts and culture. For arts and culture, again, the emphasis was on an integrated approach. And this is informed by lessons that we have drawn in the past, that if you design a program and it's a standalone thing, you just assist, artists, or you build a sport or rather an art center and you leave it there. It's not gonna yield or even give us the desirable outcomes that we want. Instead, there should be an integrated approach still, even in this instance. Delegates were saying that, for instance, there is a need to support indigenous dance music groups in a way that is integrated, as I said earlier, such that there is employment creation inside the sustainable employment creation. Stipends are also provided, and transport as well, also including market access, because sustainability in most instances is achieved through access to the markets, because that's the only way that these arts centers can be able to generate some revenue to be able to pay their bills, pay the employees and everybody who's responsible for the delivery of their programs. Thank you. And this also includes promotion of product development, market access, cultural expressions. An example was given of Mayor Esther Mahlangu from Mpumalanga, and to say, we have our own indigenous cultures here as a province. Why can't we do the same? And on the issue of market access, there was even an emphasis on the DTI to say that they have an export readiness program based on standards. And the DTI can assist our artists to a point where even their crafts can then be able to be sold not only domestically, but even internationally, and be able to access global markets and give them the foreign exchange that they need to be able to take their projects to the next level. Still under arts and culture, there was an issue that was also raised under environment, to say that we need to put a lot of focus and support for projects that seek to support the environment in the form of upcycling and recycling. They call it the circular economy. The feeling is that we need to do more to look after our environment so that it can even be preserved for the future generations. The next sector, but not least, was charities. The first point that was raised under charities very sharply was the view that we need to look at multi-year funding, because the way we are funding projects, these projects are short-lived. So maybe it's for a year, and within a year, if there's no funding, potentially the project could cease to exist. So if we have a multi-year funding of some sort, that could be able to sustain the project for some years before there is cessation of activities within the project. But there's also a view that to mitigate this risk, there's a need for projects to also find ways to be sustainable, to become social enterprises, and for people to become social entrepreneurs so that they can be able to generate revenue to sustain their projects into the future. And that calls on them just not to rely on the NLC for funding. There was also another suggestion, this is the next point, that our education and awareness workshops, we need to take them perhaps to the level of local municipalities. To the level of local municipalities, so that they are able to get to people on the ground. I'm about to finish, Ms. P. Yes. And the last one under charities was the need for school afternoon programs for ECDs, and not only ECDs, but school children in general. The issue of pit latrines also came out strongly, and I think it has been a discussion for the entire week. Program Director, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Without wasting any time, Bopo P, is your turn.
Good afternoon. Arisambatla, ne? I can feel that. No, I've run out of favor here. I was leading the session that was looking at the system more than anything else, so I'll try to be brief on that because my group didn't talk a lot. The question I asked was to check if people are using the system. And it's coming out, and it's already been shared by our advocate. I won't get deep into it. We are not using the system. We have people that are using the system for us. And as a result, we are missing the opportunity for training. So when we start engaging about the system, we're finding very few people that have actually used the system. So I will not delve into that. The matter of using agents to try and apply for you is a challenge. And we had one example in our room, because when it now gets to reporting and M&E, then you are clueless. And the person that got you the money have taken their money, they are gone now, because half of it goes to them anyway. We're left with a little bit that you're gonna try and make the project work for you on, but then we are asking for reports and all other things. You are clueless on how to do those things because you never even knew how to do the application. So please, that is a plea from our side. We need you to use the system. We are here to assist you, and we can help you a lot with the system. And then the next one was, while the presentation from DSD and SARS was appreciated, there is a need for more hands-on on it. People are saying, we hear you, but we go into the system, we have challenges, we don't know who to talk to. There was a sad story that was shared as well in the team. Somebody saying, we go to Pretoria, we find that the person that is supposed to help us is not at work today. And by the way, if you are traveling from Limpopo trying to get to a department in Gauteng, you have to sleep over. Because if you are gonna travel in the morning, you get there in the afternoon, they are closed already. So there's a lot of challenges around that. So what we agreed as NLC, and I'm committing everybody, fortunately there's a board here, is that we'll actually facilitate the support of the DSTs and the SARS. We'll try to make sure that where we are as NLC and doing the training or any other support, we've got our stakeholders as well, so that you can be able to say, when we say you are not complying because of DST is here. They can also work with you. You go into their system, they can see what is wrong, and then we go into SARS and all those kind of things. So, and further to that as well, there was a request which was saying, can we have consistent sessions where there are more to say, if we are in Limpopo, can you guys come in this week? We are here as NLC, DSD, and SARS, and we are here to help you. So you all come, and we try to clear out most of the issues that you've got. It's not something, I said to the people, it can't be something that is permanently there, but we can always have sessions where we stay for a week and clean up all the issues that we have. NLC can facilitate on that. Around the system issues, we had issues around the passwords and the OTP challenges, and I think that goes for many of us. One example was that while I'm using my cell phone and I'm busy doing the application, then I suddenly realized that I've forgotten my password. Of course, it's got an online password reset, but then it sends the OTP into my email, and I'm using the same device. And then now I must come out of this application to go to my email. When I get to my email, I get the PIN, I come back, and then it has expired. So those are the challenges that we are looking at, and we took into that, and we also could give some advice as well. And then the other one was a good question, when is the next call for application coming? And I did say that we are in engagement with the commissioner to avoid having a call when we have not dealt with the issues of the previous call, because it's like doing the same thing, expecting different results, which is not very clever. So we are looking at having our call a bit delayed, but the important part of it is that we are now going to have our registration going for longer, actually not closing it, so that we can allow you enough time for you to do the compliance, and then when we open our application, we know that we already have a lump sum of people. So we'll announce when that time comes, but it's not immediately. And don't think that we are now sitting as NLC waiting for the call. We still have a lot of applications from the previous calls that are still going through the system, and we are still pushing them. And then two of them were actually just specific questions, and one was an organization that was asking about their, I don't know how to call it, but that they had an application, they were funded by NLC, but they are frozen now. So I think there's deeper engagement as to why they were frozen and what are the issues around it, because if you are frozen, it means there's an issue, and because of the issue, we cannot give you any more funding. So those are specific ones. I have asked the lady to get to me so that we can be able to assist with that. And then as well was the continuous challenges with DST, concerning profile updates, and despite having submitted everything that they still have some problems. To me, is the training, is the engagement, because I do think that the system works, and we have been testing the system as ourselves as NLC. I've got confidence in the system, but we just need to make sure that we train. And we do it ourselves. Let's not ask somebody else. I like the comment that today, the proposal that came when I was listening to the advocates' engagement, somebody saying, let's try to get young people in our NPOs to help us because they know these things. But have them with you and not use them as agents that you're gonna pay in that regard. So in a nutshell, the plea was for NLC to facilitate the support of DSD and SARS because there's still a lot of frustration that is experienced, and based on that frustration is affecting the grant application. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you so much. Presenters, so to say, presenters of different commissions. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching, or we are about to wrap things up here today. Now it is my pleasure to invite the Commissioner of the National Lotteries Commission, and that is Ms. Jody Scholes, to come onto the stage. And she's going to give us a summary, of course, of the proceedings and key takeaways.
Thank you, Program Director. My team have me on a very short leash. I literally have 90 seconds to, and then they give me a 3-page document to read. So as we draw our provincial Indaba to a close, I would just like to extend heartfelt appreciation from myself, and I'm sure I can speak from the Board of the National Lotteries Commission, to all of you for your participation, your constructive engagement, and your willingness to assist us as we're working towards making sure that we are developmental in every aspect of our funding. This forms part of a series of engagements that we'll be going to all of the provinces. I think next month we are in KZN, and the intention behind all of this is to get real, on-the-ground understandings of what has transpired and how we can assist. And I think we've heard from the commissions today. That then is going to inform our program of work as we go forward. I think we've also been inspired by experiences from Noah's Ark Children's Home, Juno Roma Dinaka, and the Limpopo Fencing Association, whose stories have really demonstrated the tangible impact that the National Lotteries Commission has in terms of supporting community development, youth empowerment, social upliftment, sports, arts, and culture. We've also received very valuable inputs from Poppy in terms of our modernization journey as the National Lotteries Commission, and our improvements are aimed at enhancing your experience and ensuring that we are efficient in terms of how we respond. The presentations from our strategic partners from SARS and DSD have reinforced the importance of compliance, accurate organizational records, and good governance. These insights have highlighted the critical role that compliance plays in creating credible, efficient, and integrated grant funding environments. Ms. Ramaphosa reflected on the key resolutions that came out of the November 2025 Indaba, emphasizing the need to translate these resolutions into meaningful action that strengthens governance, accountability, and our developmental impact. Chair Professor Bani Pachana has reaffirmed to all of you present here today that the NLC's broader developmental mandate and our role in supporting initiatives that contribute to nation building, poverty alleviation, social cohesion, and sustainable community development. I think the highlight for me today was when we broke into these commissions, where we provided all of you with an opportunity to engage us, to look at funding priorities and how we modernize our processes and our systems. These discussions, I believe, reflect a shared commitment to strengthening service delivery on our part to all of you, improving our accountability to you, and ensuring that our funding reaches the places and spaces that need it the most. So as we draw to a close, these inputs are going to help us determine our ongoing work program, our current work program, as well as our future work program. We've heard your concerns, we've taken note, we've heard your aspirations for what you would like to see in your communities, and I just want to give assurance that we remain committed to assisting you and serving you in whatever capacity we can as the National Lotteries Commission. So on behalf of the NLC, I'd like to thank you all for your participation, to the presenters for coming out, for sharing your lived experiences, stakeholders and organizing for contributing to the success of this engagement. Today's discussions have really demonstrated absolute value, in my view, to partnership, constructive dialogue, and collective action in advancing development across the Limpopo province. Let us all leave here today, ladies and gentlemen, committed to turning these resolutions from our National Indaba into practical outcomes and help strengthen organizations, empower communities, and create a lasting impact. I thank you.
Short and sweet. Thank you so much, Commissioner Scholes. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Now, to deliver the vote of thanks, I invite Limpopo's Provincial Manager of National Lotteries Commission, Mr. Lihodi, to come onto the stage. I guess this is going to be the last warm round of applause as he's coming here.
Program Director Mpo Ratondo, I must start first by thanking you. You did an amazing job. Well, can we give me a round of applause? The Commissioner has actually done a good job, ladies and gentlemen, thanking you. And my job is going to be very short. Members of the board, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for the past 3 days that you have spent here with us. Members of EXCO, also led by Mayor Jody Scholes, members of distributing agencies also. We also would like to thank you for having spent the past 3 days with us. It hasn't been easy, and we truly appreciate your presence here in our province. I also would like to thank our colleagues from the Department of Social Development who have spent the whole day with us. Our colleagues also from SARS, our colleagues from NDA, they were also here with us. Above all, our colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, who arranged this beautiful event, we don't want to take it for granted. Our colleagues from SMMC, Metledi Peje, alongside the acting manager for SMMC, that's Ms. Lebo, together with the Limpopo team, we know that you spend sleepless nights trying to make sure that this event becomes a success. Above all, we thank you, members of the NPO community from different parts of our province, different districts. You had to travel long distances to come here to spend the day with us, and it's actually your day. We truly appreciate the sacrifices that you have made. Lastly but not least, we just want to thank you also, Prof. Pitiana, for the time you've... Actually, when you started, Prof, you came, the first office that you visited is the Limpopo office. And you are now leaving. I think it's proper and fitting that you are saying goodbye to Limpopo, and you did it in style. Thank you, Prof. We are truly indebted to you, and we have taken a lot of lessons from you, especially around ethical leadership. And I want to reassure all the members of the NPO community that are here, and even Jody and the board, that the Limpopo office is fully behind the NLC vision and the mandate. We are here to serve and respond to the needs of the province of Limpopo, and we are behind the vision of the NLC. My job is done. Thank you, Program Director. Well done for the good job. And travel safe. God bless.
Thank you, and you yourself, Mr. Lehodi, travel mercies. Travel mercies. Okay. Mose lichiko chimbira na Miss P afai. Vari ningarengisa batula. So always there has to be somebody near the Nandibadzo na. Yeah, Nandibadzo. So she's going to tell us where to for refreshments. Miss P, otherwise travel mercies, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap.
Thank you very much. I will lead people that are wearing this tag, right? They will follow me, and Poncho should be with me as well. However, there are certain people like DSD that just came here. Please follow us. Our special invited guest, follow us with Commissioner and Prof and the board members, together with NDA and so forth. I'm sure you understand that. Secondly, there are so many saving points. There is the deck, there is the lapa, and there is even inside, and then they will direct you outside, the rest of the people, with due respect. Thank you very much. Thank you.